And a very good afternoon to you, fellow Watford supporters. A very good evening to you on this edition of YOU ORNS post-match. Great to have you aboard. Thank you very much indeed for joining us here. I'm Omar, and you are here with me on YOU ORNS post-match after Watford get the victory at Vicarage Road. Watford 1, Bristol City 0 after what we saw on Friday night. There was not to be a repeat of that tonight. You know, it's interesting. I said to a Watford fan on X, and thank you for those of you coming in on X and here on YouTube Live. Thank you very much for that. I said to someone on X the other day that after the pain of Friday's game, which felt much more like a loss than a draw, that Watford would actually have days where they would play worse than they did last Friday and get a win. This was one of those examples. Watford played poorly for much of this game. The first half, they were really nowhere to be found, and yet they got the win. Welcome to the championship. For those of you who thought that the championship was all about having the grace and the flair of the Champions League, for that matter, or of the Premier League, of course, you have to think again, because this Watford side tonight did it all backwards. First half poor, we've seen that before, but the second half was better, especially after the goal. Ryan Andrews, it took an individual bit of quality, and that's sometimes what it is in the championship. You scrape and scrap and get over the line, and Ryan Andrews got that goal. Smart finish, good pass, great assist there from George with the pass. And then it was Ryan Andrews on the right side, gathered the ball, took one touch, and then blasted it off the inside of the post. That was what it took to beat a very disciplined and stubborn Bristol City side, who were rather predictable in their play, it must be said, but they were very disciplined in their predictability because they continued to do the same thing over and over and over and over again. But Watford neutralized them in the second half, and the defense is a lot to do with that. Daniel Bachmann is a lot to do with that today. And I think if you're going to give out a man of the match award, you've got three choices. You've got Georgie, you've got Ryan Andrews, and you've got Daniel Bachmann. And right now, for me, the YOU ORNS man of the match is Daniel Bachmann, because he did things that you're supposed to do as a goalkeeper. He came out and made some excellent saves in both halves of this game. It was a point-blank range save, one-on-one he made in the first half in front of the rookery, and in the second half, even though he got stranded at one moment when Scott Twine hit the ball from another parish, or really he hit one from Bedfordshire, for goodness sakes, and it hit the crossbar. Daniel Bachmann was nowhere to be seen there. But aside from that, a point to be proven there by Daniel Bachmann, who I think did a very good job here tonight to get Watford these 3 points. I pick him as the YOU ORNS man of the match. Who is your man of the match tonight for the Hornets? You could pick from 4 or 5 players. Eberseli, before he got switched, taken off, was really good. Loser was terrific as well tonight. You could pick him perhaps if you want to. I thought that those are the lads who did it. The defense was really good tonight. I didn't understand, by the way, before I get to your comments, why it was that Tom Cleverley had Matty Pollock on the left side of the 3 to start with. I was really curious about that move. Sierralta started the game in the middle, as you'd expect. And what you normally see is Matty Pollock on the right-hand side, and you have Porteous on the left. But that's not how Cleverley set up tonight. Clev set us up with Porteous on the right-hand side and Pollock on the left. And I didn't understand why that took place. But then eventually, when Sierralta got pulled off because he was really fortunate not to be sent off, you then had what you normally see, which is without Sierralta, you had Pollock on that right side. And then you had Porteous there as well, I think, in the middle. I forget what the arrangement was. And then Morris was on the left side. So Watford fans everywhere, please hit that request button on X. If you are on YouTube, I'll be reading out your comments. If you've got comments on X, I will read them out as well. It's so good to have you aboard here on YOU ORNS post-match after Watford 1, Bristol City 0. What a difference 4 days makes, as we were crying in our beers on Friday night. But tonight, it's a different story. 3 points are 3 points, and I will get to your comments on YouTube right now. Matt, hello there, Matt. Unbeaten home run on YouTube, says Matt. Unbeaten home run continues. Come on, Watford, says Matt. Thank you, Matt, for your comments as ever. And Matt continues, he's one of our own. He's one of our own. Ryan Andrews, he's one of our own. And he certainly is. Watford born, Watford bred. Ryan Andrews settled the score tonight at the Vic. And I don't know if he was born at Watford General or not. He probably was. But Watford General, of course, is basically a stone's throw or less from Vicarage Road and from the Vic, literally in the background of the Vic. And it was really great to see one of the homeboys, if you will, Ryan Andrews, getting the goal tonight for your Golden Boys. It was really, I think, a well-taken goal. Good finish from him. I thought he did a lot right tonight beyond the goal as well. I thought Bio, industrious, but did not quite get what he would have wanted tonight, which is a goal. But it was a team effort. The defending, I thought, was the key in this game. And the discipline shown in times where Watford hadn't shown discipline. I thought the discipline tonight was very good for the most part. A few silly fouls, but I think overall we got the job done because we invested in team effort tonight. I'm going to read out more of your comments. If you like to have a say on X, you're more than welcome to pipe up and have a go. Hit that microphone, please. Hit the request button, and I will patch you in. Let me read out more comments in the meantime on YouTube. Thank you for those, Matt and Kevin Shanahan. To you, thank you as well. And Kevin says on YouTube, a win is a win. Luton and Southampton went up via the playoffs and both were shite. That's what Kevin Shanahan has to say about that. Kevin, your comments are duly noted. I want to now go to David on X. And before I do, Matt chimes in. It made a change for Batman to actually come out and command his box. Yes, it certainly did. Daniel Batman, much more active tonight outside his box, made a few punch outs, was aggressive, established his position and his aerial control very well, I thought, tonight. So again, for me, the You ORNS man of the match is Daniel Batman. David has requested to come in on X, so we'll be all hearing from David now. David, welcome to this edition of the You ORNS post-match live on X and, of course, on YouTube as well. Hello, David.
Hi, Omar.
Hello, David.
Yeah, I completely agree. Backman with a man of the match performance today. I mean, it's massive for him personally after some pretty harsh criticism or bizarre criticism from the game against Plymouth. But yeah, I think there was probably as poor as we've been at home all season. And yeah, it just goes to show as good as we were against Plymouth, we've come out with a win today. So it's absolutely massive. You're not going to go through this whole season playing well, particularly at home. But yeah, it's a brilliant win. I was so surprised with how Bristol City played after they went a goal down. I thought they made it pretty comfortable for us, but and it was a bit nerve-wracking, obviously, us being pretty clear that we just wanted to sit in again. But I thought we defended pretty well. And yeah, massive win.
No question about it, David. This was an enormous win tonight. The discipline was tested. I thought we did well with that. Sierrata was a little shaky, but I thought overall it was a team effort, as you point out. Nervy moments, but the defending tonight was really stout, I thought. And even though the midfield had its problems at times, I thought the key was bringing in Sissoko. I thought that gave the team a bit more of a direction, a bit more of an identity in midfield, a bit more strength in midfield. And I thought the midfield began to get involved much more. And as you point out, Bristol City did not change the way they played. Liam Manning, their head coach, was all about doing the fundamentals and just keeping the discipline in shape, which I thought worked for them. But at some point, once you're a goal down, as you point out, David, as the away side, you're going to want to change that particular structure of play. And bringing on substitutes alone doesn't always do that, because the same ball game was being played by City no matter what. The Robins continued to do the same thing. But look, I think that they quitted themselves well as an away side. Watford took some time to break them down. And I think in the second half, once Sissoko came into that game, that was, I think, one of the key turning points as well. Anything else, David, that you wanted to add to what you had to say?
I think that's, it's a fair point. I thought they were really well organised, and that's actually why this is such a big win for us. I don't think it feels like it, because it was a poor performance, and not exactly exciting by any means, but they were so well organised. We've seen certainly last year at the very least, that they came to Vicarage Road last time and destroyed us, and they were just well organised on that day as well. So this was a real banana skin of a game. I think a few of our fans sort of feared that could be the case. So yeah, no matter which way we've come through it, and it's great to see, as you see the team spirit. Obviously, Luge, I thought, was dogged today, and that sort of epitomised, did the effort of the team. I don't think he played well, as probably most of our players didn't. But yeah, really determined, and it's obviously great to see players like that who've not really got much reason perhaps to dig in, given what's happened. But yeah, I thought he in particular was really dogged. So yeah, perfect for our defenders as well, who've not always done so well this season. A well-earned clean sheet.
Absolutely, David. Well-earned clean sheet. It's a welcome sight. Helps the goal difference as well. We get it up to +2 now. Any chance we can get a clean sheet really helps. And of course, the other thing, as Matt alluded to earlier on YouTube, the 100%, or I should say the undefeated record at the Vic continues. David, thank you so much.
Thanks, Omar.
You're welcome. And cheers to you there, David. That was David on X having a go and talking about this performance tonight from his Golden Boys and our Golden Boys as the job gets done. It was not pretty. I invite you to follow David's leads. If you're listening to me on X, follow his lead by getting on the horn and hitting that request button. Yours truly, Omar, here on another edition of You ORNS Watford FC post-match, live on Instagram coming shortly. But we're live right now on both YouTube at You ORNS WFC and, of course, on X at You ORNS WFC as well. Now, the thing that cannot be overlooked, and I want to repeat this because I said this to someone on X, a fellow Watford supporter, a day or two ago, and I've got to retweet that so that I can make my point and brag and boast a bit, is that Watford will have days where they will play worse than they did on Friday and get the win. I said that literally about 48 hours, if not 24 hours ago. And I'm telling you, I am not kidding because I'll retweet this. And sure enough, that is exactly what happened tonight. Watford did not play well by any stretch, especially at home. Might have been their poorest first half at home this season. Watford have been notoriously slow starters, particularly at home in these games. It was a complete 180 from what we saw in the first half against Plymouth on Friday. But the bottom line is that when push came to shove, our boys were stood up, and they were stood up to be counted. They stood up and they were counted, and they got the job done. I don't know what Clev said at halftime, but I'm sure it wasn't very nice as far as the Golden Boys were concerned. They had no energy tonight in that first half, but they really turned things around. And when they put in the likes of a Mr. Sissoko, and they put in the likes of other players who began to give the energy to this Watford side, the leadership that I think it lacked in that first half. The midfield was not getting it done first half, but second half made a big difference. The leadership was there. You saw the energy. And as soon as that goal was in, the assist from Georgie, by the way, another good game, decent game from him, put that assist on a plate to Ryan Andrews, who made no mistake, good control, and fired the ball in to the right, inside the right-hand post to give, or the goalkeeper's right-hand side post, to give Watford all 3 points. That moment was pivotal, obviously, because what you then saw was a much more engaged Watford side, much more energetic, much more lively, much more committed, much more intense. And that's what you lacked in the first half. And goals change games, as we know. It's not just a cliche, it's really the truth. And you saw how Watford really changed the manner and style in which they approached this game following that goal from Ryan Andrews. And sometimes that's really what it takes, one goal to unlock a side and to really keep going. And Watford's discipline, I thought, for the most part, was excellent tonight. They didn't play well in either half. They did perform better in the second. But what I was really pleased about with this performance for the Watford supporters was the way that we structured our play in defense. I thought that we closed down very well defensively in that second half on Bristol City, and we were always defending as a team very well. Our team defending tonight, I thought, was very, very good. And the team defending on Friday night was very good too. It's just that what the problem was on Friday for us is that we weren't clinical enough going forward. We weren't clinical enough with our opportunities. And listen, in this game, we weren't either. Let's be honest. The first half, we had 0 targets, 0 shots, I should say, on target. We had no shots on target. Bristol City had 5. That's just the first half alone. So you're talking about a team that was very much committed, I thought, in the second half to going and getting the game. Watford in 5th place tonight. Sunderland 0, West Brom 0 in the 4th minute of injury time. I'm not going to say anything because I do not want to be responsible for anything as far as that game is going. So I'll just leave that as it is. The other scores tonight: Hull 0, Sheffield Wednesday 2. Of course, we play Hull. We play Hull coming up in the next few weeks. It's Norwich. Now, how about this? How do you like this scoreline for the Watford supporters? From Carrow Road tonight: Norwich City 6, Plymouth 1. That was your full-time score tonight. Can you imagine that? I guess that makes me even more upset about last Friday. But I'll get over it. We got the 3 points tonight. I'll steady on. The other scores: Sheffield United 3. Sheffield United are going to be in the automatics, or at minimum. 3-0 winners over Oxford. Stoke and Preston were 0-0. Of course, we know what our scoreline was. We beat Bristol City 1-0. And the full-time score coming in from the Stadium of Light: Sunderland 0, West Brom 0. Yes, in there. We are in that top 6 tonight. Number 5 on the board. Put it on the board, Watford. 5th place. We are in there. We are contending. We are doing the job after 17 games for the Watford supporters. We are on 29 points. We're doing pretty good for a team where most of us in this room, or many of us in this room, excluding yours truly, thought that Watford would be struggling this season. Now, you can tell me that you didn't think that, but I would suspect that I wouldn't believe you. But I can tell you that I predicted top 8 for this side, no worse than 10th, before the season began. But right now, where are we? Even better than my prediction. And I predicted a 2-2 draw tonight, so what did I know? And it was looking like it was going to be a draw at some point, but that goal was so important. So Watford in 5th before tomorrow night's games, and that means that Watford will stay in the top 6 no matter what happens with Middlesbrough tomorrow. Middlesbrough against Blackburn is the game tomorrow night. So look, no matter what happens there, Watford will be inside that top 6 by the time they go to that Saturday afternoon kickoff, lunchtime kickoff against Queen's Park Rangers. You know, football is a funny old game for the Watford supporters, because we were running before the game in Plymouth on Friday. We had this stretch. We were going to begin the stretch with Plymouth of 5 games, where 4 of those 5 games were going to be against teams in the bottom 7 as of last Friday. And so you fancied, since Plymouth were one of those 4 teams in the bottom 7 that we play in this 5-game stretch, you fancied Watford to win that game against Plymouth. Didn't happen that way. The only team that was not in the bottom 7 as of last Friday of these 5 games that we play now was the team we actually beat tonight, Bristol City. So this game is actually a massive gut check win for your Golden Boys after the disappointment of Friday. It's good character, because I'm sure that game lingered for a couple of these lads, especially Bio. But good character shown by these lads. That's something that we've not talked about as far as things are concerned. Really good to come off of that game, despite the poor first half we had tonight, and find a way. The championship, as you all know, is about finding a way to get over the line. And we've got a really demanding schedule, of course, as everybody else does, as we run up to the new year from here. Lots of action. We've got the game against Queen's Park Rangers, and they're bottom of the pile, coming up on a Saturday afternoon kickoff at the Vic as well. So if we can follow up this game, we've got to be very careful, because a game like the game on Saturday is also a banana peel game for us. You cannot go into these games thinking, oh, it's QPR bottom of the league, we'll just turn up. You can't do that in these games. You can't do that. You can't think that because you've got this great home record that you can just turn up and that's the job done. Can't do it like that. Never can do it like that. We've seen the unpleasant surprises. We saw what happened at Plymouth And now, of course, we have to maintain and get this rhythm going, because after this game, you've still got 2 more games against teams that were in the bottom 7 at the start of last Friday's matches, and that would be Cardiff and Hull. Hull took one on the chin tonight. So what you've got now at the bottom of your table is this: Hull and QPR in your bottom 3 right now. So right now, the next 2 of the next 3 games you're playing, Watford fans, are against 2 teams in the bottom 3. We have no excuses here. We have to not be complacent here, and we've got to get the job done Saturday, and we've got to get the job done at Hull. That's the next game after this, and I think Cardiff, maybe Cardiff is next, then Hull. And Cardiff, where are Cardiff right now as I speak to you? They're 4th from bottom. So now Watford have an absolutely golden opportunity to get this done. 3 games now on the spin from QPR to Cardiff to Hull. Are these teams in the bottom 4? All 3 of them are in the bottom 4. Listen, you don't need me to tell you this. Do your mathematics, do your maths. This is a serious chance for Watford to get 9 points. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. But look, Watford fans, this lot we're playing on Saturday, they're at the bottom of the pile. Hull City, 3rd from bottom in the relegation zone. Cardiff above them by a point. I mean, it's QPR, Cardiff, Hull, I believe, in that order. Them last 2 are both away. If we can't get at least 6 points out of them games, at least 7 out of them games, I don't know what to say. That's going to be the easiest stretch that Watford are going to have until they get to, guess who? West Bromwich Albion, the game after that. I know I'm looking ahead, and I think that's a home match against West Brom. Those are massive games we have to take care of now in these situations. So look, I'm going to get back to taking your comments, reading your comments out. Hit the microphone and request, if you want to be heard, please have your say here on Instagram. Well, coming up as soon as Instagram, but on YouTube and of course on X. I'll read out your comments on X as well, because there are 1 or 2 of those coming in, and Michael Hobson has done that on X. So just bear with me while I bring up his comment here on X, which I just had, and all of a sudden now it seems to have escaped me. So I will go find that comment from you, Michael, but I'll read out the ones on YouTube right now. Cleverly says, Matt, yet again, made the subs at the right time. He could see, rather, it needed a fresh change, and he certainly did see that. Thank you, Matt, for your comments. Again, really appreciate what you have to say there. Clev's got it absolutely correct. He knew what the situation was going to be. And look, the bottom line is that he did push the right buttons. He was smart to take off Sierralta. That really was a no-brainer, because Sierralta was dangerously close to getting sent off. And listen, I think he handballed it, quite frankly. I really do. And the referee thankfully didn't see that. Look, the referee tonight was much smarter than the one on Friday, because he didn't have any Luton Town ties, as far as I know. James Liddington hasn't been too bad for us when we've had him as the ref, and he was good tonight. Could have been much, much worse. I mean, he could have sent one of our players off. Sierralta could have been sent off in that situation. But look, thankfully that didn't happen, and the manager saw it right away. Right, he's off, and they took him off. Look, there's another game for him on Saturday. He's coming off from injury or whatever it was, or from international break, I should say. So look, Sierralta did himself no harm in the end. That is the comment there from Matt. And here's the one from Michael on X. And Michael says this: Hi, Omar. Not sure how we won that? ? We really lack a central midfielder who puts in tackles. I feel we put too much on Georgie to do in the game. Would like to see Vata get a go in the team. That's a good comment from you, Michael. Thank you as always. Always appreciate your comments there on X. And to Michael's point there, yeah, we don't have that. We don't have that man, that Capu, or that. I'm thinking of the guy. You know who I'm talking about? The Swiss master that we used to have. I'm not talking about Abdi either. Actually, I'm talking about the other Swiss player that we had here in the last 8 years with the blonde hair. Why is it I can't remember his name? Begins with V. Somebody can tell me his name. I'm doing this off my memory. But he was a really good tackler in the middle of the park for us. And I forget his name now. Begins with V, not Valerian Ishmael. He was the manager. But we had a lad who was in midfield for us when we first came up in the Premier League back, well, one of the more recent times, back in 2015. And I forget his name. It's a shame. I don't want to look it up. I want to try to remember it. But somebody will remember who I'm talking about. From Switzerland, in our midfield, did a good job for us. He would be always getting them crunching tackles in. But anyway, your point, Michael. Thank you there, Demon Eddie on YouTube. Thank you, Valon Barami. Thank you. That's the man I was trying to think of. Thank you, Demon Eddie, for that on YouTube. Thank you. Oh, I can't. When you get older, you just can't remember anything. But yes, absolutely. Thank you, Eddie. Valon Barami, he would put these crunching tackles in. And that's what we need. And Michael, that's exactly the kind of player we need in that midfield. We don't have that physical power anymore in midfield. And, Capu would put them kind of tackles in every once in a while as well. But I can't think of anybody who has that kind of presence. And Decore maybe, but Decore was much more of a box-to-box type guy, more than a stationary midfielder who would be more central like that. He would roam a lot more. He would Mr. Decore. But yeah, Valon Barami. Thank you, Eddie. Pleased to have helped. Yeah, thank you there. And you did. I really appreciate that, because I was probably not going to get that. But I got the first letter of his first name correct, at least. I'll get partial credit for that. Thank you again, Eddie, for that. Really appreciate it, mate. But those are the things that we need. We need a tackler like that in midfield. That's a good point there, Michael. Thank you very much for making it. Reading out some of the rest of your comments on YouTube. If you have any more on X, you're more than welcome. And of course, Verbal Hornet, not to be left out, said Valon Barami as well. He threw up once before kickoff, says Verbal Hornet. He was such off the pace. Well, Verbal Hornet, I'm acknowledging you on X as well, mate. So good job from you as well, Verbal Hornet, who talked about Barami throwing. And that's true. He actually did throw up before kickoff. And I remember that. But he did some good things for us. Barami was not bad. I mean, we might disagree on that, but Barami did some good things for us. I thought he was serviceable in midfield. Verbal Hornet may not agree with that. But Thurwood, thank you for also getting Valon Barami correct. So there we go. Thurwood Hornet, thank you indeed for that. I'm going to move on to those of you who will be joining us on Instagram in just a moment. But I do want to thank all of you on X. We'll continue on YouTube as well. For those of you on X, I want to thank you very much indeed for contributing and for listening. Much appreciated. Remember to subscribe to the You ORNS WFC YouTube channel at You ORNS WFC. And of course, follow along here on X at You ORNS WFC and on Instagram, where we're going next, at You ORNS WFC as well. There will be, I think, an episode coming up of the podcast. You ORNS podcast, of course, is on Apple and on Spotify as well. Thank you very much for you on a You ORNS post-match on X. Thank you very much indeed for listening and for contributing and for you making your call and making your voice heard. Watford tonight in the top 6. They are in the top 5. With this 1-0 win, which was a win tonight, believe it or not. I know Michael Hobson had said on X that it didn't feel like a win, but it was a win. And certainly, you got to take this kind of performance. We're going to have some of these, and we're going to win these games. We're going to play like we did against Plymouth and get a draw. It happens. This is the championship, and welcome to it. Thank you very much on X to those of you who have joined us there. Man of the match, the You ORNS man of the match. Again, the reminder, the You ORNS man of the match tonight, Daniel Bachman, in goal, patrolled his area very, very well and did a very good job overall. And I thought the most consistent Watford player today was Mr. Daniel Bachman. Congratulations to him. He becomes the You ORNS man of the match today. And Watford 1, Bristol City 0. The unbeaten run at home continues. And we'll be looking for that to continue on this Saturday lunchtime against Queen's Park Rangers. That's it for now on X. Thank you again. And Omar here saying, until Saturday afternoon, you ORNS. Thank you very much indeed for those of you on YouTube who continue to follow along as I get ready to bring in the folks on Instagram. So we're going to go live to Instagram land right now. I want to thank you all for joining us. I'll continue to read out your comments on YouTube. Here we go on Instagram, which are coming up live right now. Greetings to those of you, greetings and greetings again to those of you on Instagram and here live on YouTube with the You ORNS post-match on YouTube and You ORNS Extra on Instagram Live. We continue on. Darren Griswood says hello. Mikey JC says hello as well. Connor has joined us. Gary Costa as well on Instagram. They're all coming in to join us. Thank you very much indeed. Omar here on You ORNS Extra on Instagram Live, and it's good to see everybody. Good evening, says Darren Gristwood. Good evening to you, Darren. Come on, You ORNS, says Connor. Well done there, Connor. You ORNS. We got the job done, Connor, tonight. And everybody watching, thank you indeed for joining us here. What did you think of the game, mate, says Connor on Instagram. Well, Connor, I thought the game was very dreary. First half, we were poor, didn't have the running of the midfield. We got outfoxed, outbought, and outbossed in the mid, and we didn't have any kind of sticking to our possession. Our shape was not really good. I didn't like the way we played the first half, but the second half, it really was that change. Bringing in Sissoko, I think, helped stabilize the midfield, give it a bit more structure and identity, a bit more muscle. And I thought that the game became a bit more fluid for Watford. And of course, the big time goal from Ryan Andrews really changed the shape of the game for us, Connor. And I think the lads become more energetic after that. And so, look, the bottom line is that Watford got over the line, and that's the way it is. So, Connor, I thought that isolated moments, we were very good second half. I thought our game shape and our discipline second half was excellent. The defending was excellent. And we got the footballing fundamentals right. Wasn't the prettiest performance, but as I've said many times, you're going to get games like this where Watford play worse than they did, far worse than they played against Plymouth on Friday and get 3 points. I actually did tweet that on X to somebody literally yesterday. I said, we're going to play worse than we did against Plymouth, and we're going to get 3 points. And look, it was the very next game. So there you go. Jimmy Jams, hello. Gary Costa says, You ORNS. And Olivia Sadler has joined us as well. Hello, Olivia. Hope you are doing well. Thank you indeed for joining us on You ORNS Extra on Instagram Live. Omar here with the wrap. And we'll be reading from your tweets, really from your posts on Instagram and also on YouTube as well. You are with us as well, YouTube watchers, Watford fans. Your comments, please. Who is your man of the match? I'm going with Mr. Dan Backman. That's my man of the match. You ORNS man of the match, Daniel Backman, tonight. I think he did have a really good game tonight, I got to say. Patrolled his area well, good aerial command, was not afraid to come out of his box. And I thought his clearances tonight weren't bad either. His distribution was not terrible. I mean, there was one moment where he got stranded. Scott Twine from about, goodness gracious, from the M25 somewhere way out, took the ball and it hit the crossbar. Daniel Backman was nowhere to be seen there. He almost got caught out. But other than that, Backman was excellent, made some great saves in both halves, point blank range, brilliant saves. Bristol City had the chances in the first half, could not capitalize on them. Ryan Andrews, says Darren, now scored more than his dad when he played for Taylor from 96 to 99. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Wayne Andrews was his dad, as you know, is his dad, as you know. And yeah, he didn't score as many as Ryan has. Yeah. And that's right, for 3 seasons as well. Yeah. Good point there, Darren. Thank you for that. Toby Watches has joined us. Hello, Toby. I think I know that might be Toby of Talk Sport fame and other journalistic enterprises. Thank you, Toby. If that is that you? Thank you for joining us here on Instagram. And Dan Atkins has also joined us as well. We're getting a load of people here on Instagram who have coming in and saying hello. I will continue to read out your comments on YouTube, so please continue to keep them coming. You ORNS, says Dan Atkins. Hello, Dan. hope to know that you must appreciate this win tonight, even if it wasn't the kind of flair and skill and excitement that we have seen from Watford, certainly against Plymouth Argyle the other day. Awful performance, says Dan, right on cue. I didn't even see his post, but now I do. Awful performance, says Dan, but a win's a win. Love this club, with the absolute laughing emoji. Yes, Dan. Awful performance, but we got 3 points. Great performance the previous game, and we got 1 point. That's the championship. That's the football in life. And we are here for it as Watford fans, because we are fifth in the table tonight. Sunderland and West Brom drew 0-0. I think that's a setback for Sunderland. I mean, they're still, I think they're second behind Sheffield United now. Sunderland now have had 2 chances the last 4 or 5 days to get 3 points from teams that they should be beating, and they didn't get but 2 points in total. The game against Millwall that was abandoned for a while, and then they got it restarted, and then they got a late goal in Millwall to keep themselves going and make that a 1-1 final result from that game Saturday. And then tonight, 0-0 at the Stadium of Light. Sunderland 0, West Brom 0. I would have rather Sunderland win that game. But the bottom line is that, look, Watford, no matter what happens now tomorrow night, will be in the top 6. Whether they're 5th or 6th, they will be in the top 6 as a result of tonight's games, with Watford winning against Bristol City. The important thing here, clean sheet. That's one thing that we haven't really talked about very much. Clean sheet, which is really good. We haven't had one of them in a while now, but we got one tonight. Connor says, hopefully we can win against QPR. And Darren Gristwood says, still best team home record in England. Come on, Watford, says Darren. Thank you, Darren, and thank you, Connor. You know, I'm going to read out a couple of things, and I want to go back to a point that Connor has made on Instagram. But first, Matt says, Omar, yes, you was right about the game after we played the 3 teams that are in the bottom of the table. It's West Brom away on the 15th of December. Thank you for that, Matt, for your comment there. West Brom away. I thought they were at home. West Brom are away. We are playing West Brom at the Hawthorns, I should say, on the 15th, 10 days before Christmas. Mr. Briz on YouTube says, 3 points, ground out, 4th. How do we get up here? Come on, Clev's ball, says Mr. Briz. Good on you, Mr. Briz. We're currently 5th at the moment. I don't know. I'll have to look at the table again, but the last time I looked at it, we were 5th. But the bottom line is look, we're in the top 6, and that's all that counts, because if you're in the top 6, that's playoff territory. And if we can keep this form going, you know, look, we've gone on a pretty good run here now. I think we've lost just 1 of our last 5. Swansea was that one. It was the 1-0 game a couple of weeks ago. I think it's 1. Thank you, Dan Atkins, for correcting. It is Watford against West Brom at home. I thought it was initially. Then I saw Matt's comment on YouTube. So Matt, Dan Atkins has just checked, and I should check as well. But Dan Atkins has said it is a home game for Watford against West Brom. So I was right originally when I first talked about this about 20 minutes ago. Absolute carnage behind the goal. Ryan Andrews is one of our own. That's the rookery that Dan Atkins is talking about there. Jack Majellis has joined us. He's also here in the United States. Hello, Jack. I believe you are in the United States. Jack Majellis, thank you. And again, Dan, thanks for the further confirmation and correction. It is Watford versus West Brom on the 15th. Pundits expected us to be bottom half, said Darren Gristwood on Instagram. Yeah, they did. And let's be fair, Darren, a lot of Watford fans felt the same way. A lot of Watford fans, before the start of this season, had us lot in desperate peril. I mean, I saw some Watford fans on social media saying things like, this lot could go down next season. And I knew that they weren't. And I did say, Watford are not going to really struggle. I think that Watford are a top half team. And I predicted in the top 10, but specifically around 8th. And so where they are now is even better than that. And we're not at the halfway point of the season yet. And look, this team's going to get better, Darren, as you know. Any Watford fan knows there's lots of improvements still to make. The defending was better tonight. Clean sheet tonight. So obviously, by definition, the defense was better. The defense was good on Friday. Our problem Friday wasn't the defending. The problem was our finishing. That was our problem on Friday. So look, we're beginning to turn a corner. We're gonna bring back a load of these players. We've got the likes of Jeremy Ngaki, who was named to the bench tonight. We have the likes of Ogbonna, who's going to be back maybe in a week or two. TDB might be back in 2 or 3 weeks or less than that. I mean, this is looking good right now. And so Ogbonna's still going to be back. As I said, he'll be coming up in the next few weeks. So look, there's a lot of mix in the match to do. Dumbia, I liked his energy going forward. He was only on for a few minutes. Holly Louise has joined us, and she says she's very happy. Absolutely. You should be after what we saw tonight. Great after what we saw Friday. Sissoko has to start. He changed the game, says Dan Atkins. Yep, I agree. Sissoko's got to start this game now on Saturday. I suspect he will. What Sissoko brings you is a lot of leadership. I mean, I know he's been off the ball for some of these games, but he's been mostly good this season for us. I know he had the 3-game suspension retroactive, so that's an issue. But Sissoko gives you leadership in there. He does, and I thought that was a big point. That's a good point there, Dan. Excellent point about Sissoko. He did change the game. Who is your man of the match? I ask every Watford fan watching, who is your man of the match? The You ORNS man of the match tonight is Daniel Bachman. And, Holly, who is on Instagram watching this, spent a lot of time on Friday becoming Bachman's #1 fan. So if she was his #1 fan on Friday, and of course I'm being very facetious about that, you can imagine what kind of fan of Bachman she is right now. So Holly, thank you, Holly. I can't help myself. Holly, I had to go there. But there we go on You ORNS Extra on Instagram Live, on here on YouTube as well. Thank you, YouTubers, for continuing to watch. Mr. Briz talked about those 3 points being ground out. That's what the championship is. Mr. Briz is absolutely right there on YouTube. This is about grounding out the results. We don't have to be flashy in these games as long as we get 3 points from them. We're going to have nights like this. It's a rough spot, middle of the week game. The stadium was not full. Lots of empty seats, not just in Bristol's area, not just in the Bristol City area, the away area. There was loads of empty seats around the ground. It's going to happen, and so, Watford needed a lift from somewhere, and the crowd tried to give it to them. But the bottom line is that those changes at halftime, I think, was a very important with Sissoko coming in. That was a massive difference. I thought that Ince was great coming in as well, as I'm trying to get us get a bit less light here because we've got so much light coming in. It's very, very sunny here in San Francisco, California, as I'm filling about with the blinds and whatnot here. That might be maybe worse, actually. Sierra Alta. I want to get to Sierra Alta right now. Darren Griswood says, I thought Sierra Alta was a bit lucky not to be sent off. Yeah, Darren, I agree. Sierra Alta was awfully fortunate. He is good for a yellow card every game. He's on his way to another one-match ban. He got that yellow card so early in that second half. I mean, it was literally about half a minute. And he got a yellow card that was not very smart at all. I was disappointed in him. And then he proceeded to, I think, foul somebody, which really, Naki Wells, I think, was the one that got fouled. But, I mean, Wells just sold it like an Oscar-winning performance. We've got the film season, the award season, and starting now with the films and all that, the BAFTAs, the Oscars, and all the rest of it. Over these next 3 months, we're going to be hearing, and I'm a big film fan saying this, we'll hear nothing but about films and the big films coming up for Christmas and all the rest. But Naki Wells for Bristol City, didn't he get his Oscar nomination performance early? I think he was going for that. Rolling around. Sierra Alta fouled him, don't get me wrong. But dear, oh dear, oh dear. That's why the referee probably didn't give the second yellow out there, Darren, to Sierra Alta. And then the handball, let's face it, he handballed that. The referee probably pretended he didn't see it. But we need a bit of luck sometimes when you've got here's the thing here, Darren. When you are going well, and Watford have gone well these last 5 or 6 games, you do get the lucky break come your way, except for the Plymouth game, obviously, at the end. But generally speaking, when you're going well in these games, you're going to have some luck accompany that because you're making your own luck. And usually, you get bailed out. Referee swallows the whistle. Referee swallows a yellow card. He certainly did it with Sierra Alta. And you're right. Sierra Alta was awfully lucky not to have been given the boot out of this game. And that's why Cleves pulled him off the pitch about 2 minutes after that. So, look, the bottom line is That's where I stand on that. Thank you for your comment, Darren. On YouTube, I want to hear from you on Man of the Match. I want to hear from everybody on Man of the Match. Everyone watching, your Man of the Match. Again, I've given mine, the You ORNS Man of the Match, Daniel Backman. Matt says, the Man of the Match for me has to be Ryan Andrews for the goal and for how strong he was at the back for the full 90 minutes. Great shout there, Matt, for Ryan Andrews, because, of course, Ryan Andrews played the entire game as well, which you don't necessarily see often enough at times from him. But he did get that right tonight. I thought Ryan Andrews was very good. I thought he did everything right. Ryan Andrews is the man of the match for Matt on YouTube. Thank you, Matt, for your comment. We'll go with a couple more minutes here for this game, because this game meant everything for the Hornets. This was a very important game, even though it was not a game that you're going to remember necessarily in about a month's time when you are eating your Christmas dinner or your leftovers from Christmas dinner, because, of course, it's Boxing Day after that. We're a month away from Boxing Day. You're not going to remember this game on Boxing Day, I guarantee you. You're not. You're probably going to remember the game that we play on Boxing Day, whichever team we play. I've not looked. But you are going to remember that it was 3 points that we got. So, this is the thing. Watford doing what you've got to do to get over the line. As I was saying before the Instagram has come on, the key for Watford now are these very winnable games. And as I was talking about before the Instagrammers came in, it's very important to keep this in mind. Watford going into the game against Plymouth, we're in a run. We're going to start a run where 4 of their next 5 opponents, including Plymouth, started last Friday in the bottom 7. 4 of Watford's next 5 opponents going back to the Plymouth game were in the bottom 7 last Friday. Very, very key stretch of games before you get into that very busy Christmas period of games up into the new year. And so what Watford did tonight, despite the draw on Friday night, was to back up what they did against Plymouth and get over the line with all 3 points and get the result that they wanted. And so that is what they did against the only team that wasn't in the bottom 7 of these 5 games that Watford are going to be playing. And that was Bristol City. So it's funny how football plays itself out. It's funny how football can go. You would have probably thought that we'd get the win against Plymouth and maybe get a point against Bristol City, who are in the top 10. But it was the other way around. We got a point against the team in the bottom 7 on Friday. And then we got all 3 points tonight against the team in the top 10. So that's how things go as far as Watford are concerned and how football and life are concerned. This is just how it goes. And so the bottom line here for the Watford supporters is that Watford got over the line tonight. Not impressive, but it doesn't matter because we don't have a table for what's impressive. Because if Watford had a table in the league for what's impressive, they'd probably be very close to the bottom of that table. But what counts, obviously, for us are points. And 29 points right now after 17 games, that's a really good return. That's a really good return. That's more than half of the total points that we could get in these games. 17 points, right? 17 matches, 51 total points. We have 29 out of 51. That is better than half of the available points. And when you're in a position as a Watford team, any team, when you've got more than half of your total points so far in a season after just a third of the season, because we had just passed a third of the season now, you're ahead of the curve. You're ahead of the curve. Watford now passed the third of the season point, and they have more than half of the total points available on offer to them. That is excellent. You cannot look at that and rubbish it any way at all. That you've got to look at. And Darren Griswood says on Instagram, we are well ahead of Luton Town. Yes, we are. Some joker in Luton, one of their fans, a few weeks ago after Luton beat us as badly as they did, embarrassed us, he said, "Oh, we're going to finish ahead of Watford." And it's like, and I didn't say anything to him because I'm going to wait till the end of the season to do my talking. I mean, we could do it now. I mean, Luton Town are a mess, and Rob Edwards, I'm waiting for him to be sacked. if he hasn't already been sacked. But then anyway, who cares? I mean, we don't care about Luton Town around here. The only time we care about Luton Town is when we play them in these derby matches. And Darren Griswold said, bring on Luton at the Vic. Oh, yeah. I'm with you, Darren. Bring them on. Bring them the hell on. They're hovering there on that bottom 3 or 4 or whatever they are now. So, by the way, I wanted to finish my thought about the Watford stretch of games. And thank you, Matt Still, for joining us on Instagram. The other thought is that Watford now have an excellent opportunity to consolidate on what they did tonight. They've got all these games now against teams. Their next 3 games are against teams in the bottom 4. QPR, bottom of the table. We play them Saturday afternoon. Next game after that is Cardiff. They're bottom 4. They're 4th from bottom. And the game after that is Hull City. They're in the bottom 3. These are winnable games. Now, that doesn't mean we take these teams for granted, but that's 3 games now that you're looking at. You don't want to look too far ahead, but this run of games that Watford are on now, you've got to be thinking about picking up maximum points from each of them 3 games. The first game is at home. The next 2 are at the away venue. Hull City after Cardiff. Now, Cardiff, we've had some ups and downs with Cardiff. We've had some decent results there of late. Hull City, we've been up and down with them. Got a win against them last season at their turf. So, look, the bottom line is now, before we even get to the Christmas period, we have got to win these next 3 games because that puts us in a very, very good position to springboard into that Christmas New Year fixture list. And, of course, West Bromwich Albion will be the first real one coming after that as Dan Atkins had talked about this earlier on Instagram when he talked about the game against West Brom being at the Vic on the 15th of December. Now, West Brom were at the Stadium of Light tonight. They got a score draw there, a goalless draw there. So, look, the bottom line is that West Brom, we're going to be jockeying for position with them. And we are 5th, West Brom lurking and irking around that area as well. So Darren Griswood on Instagram says to us, I hope if we get through December well, the club back Tom. I hope that if we get through December well, that the club back Tom in the January window. I hope so too. Darren, a dose of reality to add to what you're saying, though. Not that you're fantasizing here about what the club will do. But as you know, Darren, very well, there's everybody watching on both Instagram and YouTube. And please subscribe to the You ORNS WFC YouTube channel and also follow at You ORNS WFC on X and Instagram. What we all know here as Watford fans very well is this. January is not traditionally a busy time for transfers for Watford. And generally speaking, January is not the kind of time where you can expect a lot of deal making to be done. So we'll see, Darren. I hope that they do back him. And because I still think we need some upgrades, I think we still need another backup in goal to push Daniel Batman, because Jonathan Bond, they're not even playing him anymore. Klebs has just turned a blind eye to Jonathan Bond, who I thought is the better goalkeeper. But tonight, the man of the match for me is Daniel Batman. So, look, they need more strengthening in goal. I think they need more strengthening, would you believe, in midfield. Although Kevin is going to be out for a few more weeks. But we still need someone else in that midfield, I think. And we need another striker. Daniel Jefferson he's not really had a chance to play. He's been under the weather. He's had injuries. He's had a lack of confidence. It's not gone the way we would like it to for Mr. Jefferson. But the bottom line is that, look, that's the way things go. But Darren, we'll see about January. We definitely need some life in January. I would love to know from you, or if you'd like to say, or anyone else watching, who would you like to see come in January? What kind of position player would you like to see come in January? Not the name of the player, but just what positions do you think we need to strengthen in January? And how much of that do you think we're going to get? Because I don't think we're going to get, if we bring him in, it'll be only 2 players, if that. But we'll see. Man of the match, I've already read out. Matt says it's Ryan Andrews. Omar, and this is Matt again on YouTube. Omar, it was so nice to see us finally not concede in the first 10 minutes of both halves. Was the electronic clock not working again properly in the first 10 minutes of both halves? Says Matt, laughing away there on YouTube. Yeah, it's refreshing, right, to know that they did not concede in the first 10 minutes, either half. It's amazing how that's happened. We managed to do that. We could lose Bio in January for AFCON. Yeah, that's true. He got his call up, didn't he, Darren, in the Ivory Coast team in the international play, and he scored. So I think there's a good chance that he will be gone for that whole month. The African Cup of Nations. Yeah, that's a big blow. I know a lot of Watford fans would not have thought that would ever be said. I'm a big Bio fan, but there are a lot of Watford fans who are not. But the bottom line is, yeah, that's a critical thing you've got to be looking at. So, Darren, I think that getting a striker in here would be at a premium for us. We need to get one in if Vakun Bio is going to be gone for the African Cup of Nations, which I think he probably will be based on his form. He played decently tonight. But the bottom line is, yeah, he's going to be, he has got a renewed confidence about him. So I think you're right. You got to be looking at strikers. That's definitely a key, Darren. Thank you for that. Yep, that is a good point to be made. Bio could be gone for the African Cup of Nations. And so, yep, we've got to look at that. Kayembe, who knows? He might be gone as well, but we'll see about all of that. So really, I think we're going to wind it down here now. I want to thank everybody for watching. I think we've got this game on Saturday is going to be a tricky game. I don't want to predict too far ahead of time, but this game against QPR, I think is going to be a big test for Watford. A test of our maturity, a test of our character, because of the way we've gone about business tonight. I hope, and I'm sure Tom Cleverley will tell these lads, do not take QPR for granted. QPR have got, they're going to be fighting in this game. It's a local game, essentially, because they're only, 25 miles away in West London, not all that far at all from, as a bus ride, as a coach ride, isn't it, from Shepherd's Bush up to the Vic. Watford cannot take this lot lightly, and plus the other thing, lightly, I'm sorry. I got it the third time around. Watford cannot take QPR lightly. These 12:30 kickoffs are always tricky. Watford have been very up and down in these 12:30 kickoffs. I think the last one they played, they got a win from. I think, not sure. Might be wrong about that. The only 12:30 kickoff I can remember us winning was the game against Millwall. That was the opener of the season. But other than that, I don't think we've won too many of these 12:30s. So I am concerned about that. The time of the game concerned me a bit. So we'll see about what that looks like for Watford. We might get some players back between now and Saturday afternoon. You'll have a fresher Sierralta who is going to have to be on his P's and Q's in these games. But we'll see how Saturday afternoon shakes out. Ngakia was named to the bench. I see him playing a role on Saturday. It's nice to see Ngakia back after missing a lot of time. It's just been a really rough go for Ngakia. TDB would love to see him back at some point soon. Well, it's been really good to see you back at this point soon here on Instagram Live, and of course on You ORNS on YouTube post match as well. We talked to the folks on X. They gave their 10 pence and their shillings worth. Joe Larkin has jumped in as well here on Instagram. Thank you very much, Joe. How are you? We got the win tonight, Joe, and that's what we care about. 3 points, 29 points for us. More than half of the points on offer have been scooped up by us. You've got to love that. I mean, that's just brilliant stuff as far as I'm concerned as a Watford fan. Very pleased about how Watford have gone about their business tonight, despite the fact that they had not had the most dazzling performance. But again, it's about those 3 points, baby. Get them any way you can. Smash and grab, hold on, whatever you got to do. Snatch and crawl and scrape to get them 3 points. And tonight, we got that. And that means that we are in 5th place as of right now in this game against after we beat Bristol City tonight. I don't think Bristol City can complain too much about their performance. It's just that they didn't really change their performance once the goal went in. And I think if you're a Bristol City fan watching this in retrospect, I think you've got to be looking at your manager going, why didn't he shake up the formation a bit? Maybe he did, but I didn't see it. They did the same kind of thing over and over and over again and expected different results. And they played very well in the first half. They dominated this first half. I was shocked that the manager, Liam Manning, did not change very much at all. But that's their bread and butter. That's his bread and butter, to have these lads continue to play the same kind of football that they had played throughout the game. And I thought that had they switched up things, and they did make some changes, but had they changed things, my goodness me, it's just, they could have been a different result tonight. That, by the way, Man City still have not won a game in a month. They had a 3-0 lead at Feyenoord tonight in the Champions League, and they got a draw. How does that happen? Manchester City are in really, really, and that was at home at the Etihad. And that's a disgrace. And City are officially struggling. I don't think officially it was obvious, right, that they've, when they got tonked 4-0 at home to Tottenham, that was official. But this one tonight, I'm sorry, if you're 3-0 up against Feyenoord at home in the Champions League, you've got to finish that game off. And Feyenoord scored 3 goals in 15 minutes. The 75th minute, 82nd minute, 89th minute. Anyway, I don't care about City at all. I was happy that Tottenham beat them, and I'm not a fan of Tottenham, of course. I'm not a fan of any of these clubs. There's only one club I love, and it's the club you see at the back of your picture there, and the shirt that I'm wearing. And it's been Watford all along, of course. But I just, as a footballing fan in general, I do get a kick out of seeing City losing games or getting drawn 3-0 up, and they did not finish that off. Anyway, that is enough of that. Watford FC, the team for me. And look, the bottom line is Sheffield United top of the table now. Watford in 5th behind Leeds United, who play tomorrow. Watford have lost just one of their last 6. Keep that in mind. And maybe even more than that. Watford have lost just one of their last 6. They've won 4 of their last 6 as well. Let's look at it that way. Watford are beginning to percolate here now. Again, let's not go too far ahead of ourselves. I know I was guilty of doing that, but let's be honest. How can you not look ahead when you've got these 3 games coming up? 3 games against teams in the bottom 4. Ooh, boy. Let's just look at one at a time. However, against QPR, that's coming up this Saturday afternoon. You ORNS, says Joe Larkin. Well done there, Joe. Thank you very much for that on Instagram. Big shout, says Darren Grishwood. Saturday ex-Watford man Adrian Mariappa in FA Cup for Wealdstone against Wickham on ITV. Oh, that's gonna be a good watch there, Darren. God, I wish I could get that. I wish I could get ITV out here. God, I remember ITV so well. Oh, back in the day, ITV. They had the big match on ITV. This is decades ago, mate. Way before a lot of your time. The big match. I don't think they have that on anymore in ITV. I'm sure they don't. Yeah, that would be a war for Wealdstone in the FA Cup. Oh, I love that. Against Wickham, that is a watch. That's a watch. And I'm sure that's not an early afternoon kickoff there, Darren. That's probably at 3 p.m., isn't it? So you can watch Watford the QPR and then go straight to Wealdstone. You can take a trip, get on the Metropolitan line, on the London Underground, London Transport, and get that Metropolitan line and get to Baker Street, change there, go to Shepherd's Bush. I'm sure you can find a way, whether it's the Central line you can change to or the District line, probably the District line, whatever it is. Oh, it's on at 12:30. Oh, that's too bad. Ooh, Darren Grishwood just tells us that that's on at the same time, 12:30 kickoff. Oh gosh, oh my God, it's on ITV though. Have a go at that. If you got portable, which I'm sure you got a phone you can get ITV on, and probably they stream it. Probably, I know BBC has an iPlayer, but I'm sure that the ITV does as well. Down at Ruislip, of course. Yeah, it is at Ruislip. Yeah. I'm sorry. Thank you. It's not. I thought for some reason. Well, that's even closer. I mean, that's a real close trip, Darren. Down at Ruislip, that's not far. If you go from Shepherd's Bush to Ruislip, that's not all that far away, and that's a good job. Because the games are in Ruislip at the Vale down there in Wealdstone in Ruislip. That's a good job. I mean, that's a really good. Thanks, Darren, for that. That's a really good one because even if they're playing at the same time, that's a right shot. Boy, I don't know which one would I go to. Would I go to? I mean, to be fair, Wealdstone against Wickham or Watford QPR? I mean, I mean, if it's Watford against Sheffield United, I'm at the Vic. But that is not a bad shout. Mariappa for Wealdstone against Wickham at the Vale. I might be partial, Darren, to the Vale. Honestly, I don't want to mock and disrespect my team, but that's a nice shout there. Mariappa for Wealdstone. That is not bad. Anyway, thanks for that, Darren. 17 games played, Watford in fifth on 29 points. 4 of our last 6 have been W's. We've lost just 1 of our last 6 games. And that was a lackluster effort against Swansea in midweek 2 weeks ago. Not bad. Not bad. This team is just 3 points behind 4th place Leeds. That is absolutely, again, we're in the playoff running. Middlesbrough play tomorrow. So no matter what happens, Middlesbrough against Blackburn Rovers, that's a tasty one. That one will be. Middlesbrough's won 3 in a row, by the way, so you've got to look out for that. And they too have won 4 of their last 6. So you got Watford and Middlesbrough going very well at the minute. That is going to be something to look out for. And we beat Middlesbrough this season, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was 2-0 in that contest. So yes, it was. It was Watford 2, Middlesbrough 0. Kept a clean sheet against them. So, this is a good run Watford are on now. So no matter what happens tomorrow with Middlesbrough versus Blackburn, rest assured, Watford fans, we will be in the top 6, either 5th or 6th, but we will be in the top 6. And that is all you need. Good win today, says Joe on Instagram. Not completely deserved, but needed that after Plymouth, says Joe. Yep, Joe, I agree with you. We needed that win desperately tonight because last Friday was awful. It does just about get that nasty taste out of the mouth of any Watford supporter after the win tonight. So, yeah, we definitely made up for it tonight. I want to thank everybody who watched. I thank everyone who came in and had a say on Instagram. Those of you who are on X earlier on tonight, thank you for that. And those of you on YOU ORNS Extra on Instagram Live, thank you so very much indeed for watching. It is close to 11 o'clock at night on a midweek, and so it's a really tough one. Don't want to keep you too much longer, so I will not do that. Thank you, Matt, for your comments. Thank you, everyone, for your comments on YouTube at YOU ORNS WFC on YouTube. Please like the video. Please subscribe to the YOU ORNS WFC YouTube channel at YOU ORNS WFC. And, of course, follow along at YOU ORNS WFC on both X and on Instagram. We will be back for the post-match again on this coming Saturday. Very early one, so I don't know that I'll be able to do a pre-match. Although I probably could, even though it will be around 3:30 in the morning here. But we will see you again. Cheers, Omar, says Joe Larkin. See you on Saturday. See you then, Joe. And see you on Saturday, says Darren Griswood. Darren, I'll see you then as well on Instagram. We may do a pre-match. So we'll see. We'll see. I'll probably get up earlier than I normally get up pretty blooming early for these games. So I will definitely be endeavoring to do a pre-match. We'll see about that. But thank you very much for the Watford support. It's always great to be with you. My name is Omar, and I do appreciate your coming along and chiming in and watching the post-match on both YOU ORNS Extra on Instagram Live and, of course, here on YouTube. Thank you so very much, everybody. Thank you, Matt, as well. Thank you again, Omar, for another great post-match chat. Bring on QPR at the weekend. Thank you, Matt, for that. Really appreciate that as well. Continued support and success. Thank you very much for all of you who've watched today. And whenever you happen to be watching these feeds, thank you so much. See you again Saturday for Watford versus Queen's Park Rangers at Vicarage Road. Tonight, the final score at the Vic, Watford 1, Bristol City 0. Watford in 5th. Doing very well indeed so far. Bouncing back from the disappointment of Plymouth and now building character and a clean sheet. That is it for now. Take care, everyone. My name is Omar. And until Saturday morning or afternoon, YOU ORNS! Take care, everybody. Have a good night. Be well. See you Saturday.